Jig video, I talked about showing you guys how to make a fluid bed. So there's only 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces that you need. These little valves here you can order. Aquarium valve, you can order those over the internet. You can get, I don't remember what I paid for them. I think I got a pack of like 50. It was cheap, dirt cheap. A piece of brown paper bag, and you just take the bag and set your union. This is a union. Just set your union there. Just take a magic marker and draw, probably a 1/8 to a 1/4 of an inch to the outside of the union. Then get some scissors and cut that out, and we'll be putting that on top of an end cap. This is one of the unthreaded end caps. Okay, they sort of tough to find. You may have to go to a couple different Home Depots or Lowe's. They said they have a lot of them with the threads on it, but that won't work for what we're getting ready to do. I don't remember the drill size to make the hole, but just match it up to whatever size valve you get. And what we're gonna do, you just want that a snug fit. I didn't glue it in there. I just made sure that my drill bit was a little undersized, and this has a bevel, sort of a bevel end on it. So go small on your hole size. That way you can really push it in there, and I hadn't had a problem with them falling out or leaking or anything. But we'll do that after a while. Okay, so you got 2 end caps and 1 union. We'll make 1 fluid bed. Okay, so after you get your paper bag cut out, just fit that over one of the end caps and take the union and force that down over the top of that. You want to beat that on there pretty good. That way it gets real tight in the inside. I think that helps with the airflow also. There was when I first started making these, there was a couple that I didn't make real tight, and you can hear that paper is pretty tight in there. You can just take a razor and just trim this out. It don't matter. I mean, it's just a fluid bed. But if you want it, you could take a razor. If I could find mine around, I got one here somewhere. I'm not gonna worry with it, but I got a razor here somewhere. I can't find it right now. I've used this one already in this little brown part. Most of them I cut off, but for some reason I didn't do it on this one. I thought I had an empty one up there, but I had to take my powder paint out of this one to show you guys how it goes together. As like I say, you want to make sure that this part here is on there real tight. That way you don't have a problem with it falling apart or something like that. After that, you can take your valve, as like I say, push it in there pretty good, and you can hook your air line up there, and you got your control there for your fluid bed. And this is the top. And I've been using these things for, I don't know, probably over a year now, and I hadn't had any paint to chalk up on me. Some people have problems with the paint drawing humidity and getting all chalky. I hadn't had that. I keep I use it. I put the other end cap in the inside, so it's still pretty good. But that's it. I'm gonna put this one up. I'm gonna paint some pink heads right now. So I'll show you how it flows the paint. Does a pretty decent job, I think. What more do you want? That's liquid. And it's bubbling fairly good. I mean, you talk of a fluid bed, that's what you want. You want your powder to look like a liquid. And that looks like a liquid to me. And I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes that have invested in putting these things together to sell. But I mean, I almost bought some, but you know, for the money that they're trying to get for those things, I mean, this works perfect. Works perfect for me. I like it. Does a great job. The heads turn out great. I'm gonna paint a few heads right now, so let me get everything set up, get my heat gun set up, and show you what it turns out like. May get a little noisy. Heat gun, it's kind of loud, but if you're gonna paint heads, get ready for it. I'm just doing some 1/16 heads, number 4 hooks. As you can see, I've been painting some pink. That was the last color that I painted, was pink. Got that on the so throw it on high, let it heat up a little bit. Not sure if you could see that powder in there. I don't want to take the camera off the tripod, but that's liquid. Alright. Heat it up, swirl it in there. Throw it back over the heat for a little bit. What else do you want? It's a painted head. When I put the forceps over, I'm actually clamping the hook, but I just put the tip of it over the eye. That way it don't get a lot of paint inside of the eye. Bam, there you go. And for those that don't know, when the paint's hot, it's a lot darker, but when it cools off, it really turns that bright pink. I'll show you the difference on this next one that I'm going to do. I know when I first started powder painting, I was a little confused until that head dried. It's all look purple when you first put it in, but after it cools off, that's a big difference. Alright, let me get the rest of these done, and I'm going to tie a few jigs and let you guys see what I do on that. I mean, it's nothing special, it's just putting thread on, wrapping the chenille, and putting tail hackle on. So, in a minute, let me get things organized. Another thing too I want to make mention is when I get done with this, not only do I put the cap on, but I close this little valve up also. That way no moisture or air or anything can get to it. And I'm sure it helps a little bit, but it's just a little small port. I can't say that's what helps me from not having trouble with my powder paint, but I've always did it. I'm going to continue to do it, but it's just a little something you may want to do. I do it. I think it would help some. Powder paint, some of the colors that I bought, I've painted several heads with them, and that paint lasts a good while. So you want to take care of it as best possible. Just a little tip. Alright guys, got my jig hooks here. I had to turn I couldn't get the video to show right with my table lamp. It seemed like it's too bright, so hopefully this light here will do better to where you can see. So I got my thread here, and I always start up, you leave a tag end out, and I always start up around the head, and I go all the way back to right before that first bend. Put one layer on and bring it all the way back up to the head. And you want to wrap this pretty tight. You want to wrap it really tight. And then put you a good thread base down there. Okay, come all the way back up to the head. Clip off your little tag end. And we're going to lay our feathers down. So you take I always put a couple V's at the bottom. Just fills the tail out a little more. A couple V's at the bottom, and then you find your tip, and try to keep them lined up. And I'll take one more V and lay over the top of the tip. Like so. Pull them all down together. Lay it on the hook, and first couple wraps fairly loose. And as you go, pull it down tighter and tighter. Okay? And put a few layers of thread over the top of that. And I bring it back to about midways right there. So now I'll take my chenille, and some people lay the chenille on top of the hook and wrap that into it. What I'll do is just pinch a 1/8 of an inch maybe off and lay that on the hook and just wrap that in. Wrap it, pull it. While you're wrapping this, you want to do it very tight. You want it tight. Okay, that makes a big difference in whether or it falls apart on you. So thread very tight. Okay. So now we'll wrap the chenille. Always start on the far side. It's just something I've always done, and you want to be pulling this very tight. You want to pull this very tight. That way nothing comes apart. Everything stays together. Your jig, you'll lose this jig before it comes apart. Wrap it really tight all the way up to the head, and give it one more wrap right around that head. Okay, and your thread is there, so we were wrapping on this side. That last wrap, bring on the back side of that thread. Okay. And put a lot of tension. I always put 2 wraps there. I'll pull my chenille towards the front, 2 more wraps, and what this is doing is securing that chenille up in the front. Okay, and this is where my cuticle cutters comes in. Get up there as close as you can and snip it off. Whip finisher. Now, like I said in my jig video, I'm not gonna. I mean, there are some very good videos on YouTube already that explains how to use this very well, but that little hook, I'll just talk my way through it. Hook over the back side of it, make a V, pull down. You want to do this pretty tight. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take it off the back side, run your knot down, cinch it down. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes you have to cut it. Okay? Flip it around, get your head cement, and a lot of times this stuff dries up on there. You gotta take that off. So head cement and lock that knot down. I don't put a whole bunch there, but I want to make sure that it's soaked. Last thing I want is spend all that time putting the jig together and get out in the water, catch a couple fish on it, and your knot ends up coming off. But that's it. There you go. Black and pink. That's been working good. Y'all see, you'll see in this video that I got coming that it puts some good fish in the boat. Good fish. Alright, lock her in the vise. Peak vise too. I mean, dude, this vise costs a little money, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you're gonna tie jigs, and I only tie jigs for myself. I don't sell jigs, so I just tie for myself. But I want quality. Okay, I want quality. Put you a good thread base on there. Wrapped tight is very important. That's wrapped tight. Up to the front, cut off your tag end. I do 2 V's at the bottom. Find you a couple that match. Find you some that match, and get your tip. I don't like that one. Lay your tip right on top of that. Another V. Make it, lay it down on there, make it towards it looks good. First couple wraps. My hand may be in the way on this, but there's no other way that I can do it. First couple wraps loose, and then start cinching it down as you get a little farther down there. Wrap her up real tight. You want it wrapped up tight. I'm going to put a little bit of flash on this one, and not for sure how much of this you guys are going to be able to see, but I think my hand is probably in the way on some of this. Midways on your chenille, pinch it 1/4 of an inch or so. And what I do is the part that where I pinch it off, I try to line it up with the right at the rear of the jig. Loose wrap tight and go tight. lock that down very good. If not, your chenille will be coming loose. Alright. And on this one, you don't want to do loose wraps. You want to start off tight, very tight. You want this very tight. That way you don't have to, and you want to be slightly overlapping. I didn't mention that on that first jig, but I'm not going side by side. I'm slightly overlapping. And I know you can see that hook bending. I'm putting real good tension on there. Up to the head of the jig and one more wrap. And this last wrap goes in front of the thread. And lock that joker down, 2 wraps. Pull your chenille back forward, come back behind it with your thread. I do 2 wraps, tight wraps. And right up close, cut that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw that down, pull that out, cinch it down. You'll feel that lock down. Take your scissors up close as you can get and whang. Roll her over right where that knot is. Sure, a good layer of head cement. I'm having trouble seeing what I'm doing. Really, this camera light is really not that great. But my this other lamp is just too bright. It's not showing. You can't. It's not showing what I'm doing very well. It's too bright. There you have it. Black paint with flash. Alright guys, I'll try it a little different. I viewed the footage I recorded just now and it's not showing what I want to get across to, especially like putting that flash in there and getting the chenille on there. So hopefully this will be a better view of to where you can see what I'm doing. Tag into the thread. You want to start it up at the head, wrapping it very tight. Okay, try to keep my big old hands out of the way. And you want a good layer of thread on the hook before you put anything on it. It's like I said, I go all the way back to right before the bend of that hook. Good thread base, very tight thread base. Okay, bring it up to the head, let that hang there, snip off the tag end, get you some good looking V's. And it's like I mentioned in my jig video, it's good to have that stuff cut up, because if not, that's another process in getting jigs tied. So if you have that cut up beforehand, you can just dig in there and grab your V and your tips and what you need and get your jig tied. So it's an excellent idea to have that done already. So what I'm doing is 2 V's, a tip, and then 1 V on top of that. And it makes a good looking tail to me. Okay, so you lay that, after you line it up, lay that down there, couple loose wraps. And did you see what I just did? You see how that I had it was loose. So what I did, and it helps with keeping your tail aligned too, is put tension on it. As you put tension on your string, put tension on the feather. It's helped me keep my tails aligned to where they're not going off to the side or something. So full wrap on that. A good base, tight base on top of your hackle. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a flash in this one too, since you couldn't see that at all a little while ago. And you notice I try to keep my tails all the same length, but it just, you know, I'm not professional enough to have it like some of the guys that I see, to where they can tie 50 jigs and they're all identical. But the crappie don't seem to be that specific on sometimes you like it a little longer, sometimes you like it a little shorter. So I just doubled my flash over, and I learned this from a guy on one of the tying forums. I forget his name. It's been a while since I've talked to him, but you just loop that over, and as you start wrapping that in, fold it down and tie that in good and tight. Okay? A tight thread base makes a big difference. If that thread base is loose, you're gonna have trouble out of that jig wanting to come apart and twisting up on you and all kind of stuff. So I pinched off about 1/4 of an inch. Lay that right there on top. Loose wrap. And once you put that first loose wrap on it, you can go ahead and start cinching it down. You want this very tight, because this is what holds the back end of your chenille on. Okay? Bring that thread all the way back up to the head. So you take your chenille, and it's like I say, you want to start this off very tight. You want it very tight, overlapping. Okay, overlap, very tight, very tight, very tight. And you up to the head. A lot of people will try to fill that in with thread, but just from watching videos, there's a few guys that mention in their videos, once you get up to the head, go ahead and throw that extra wrap. And what that does is just give your thread something to get on top of and cinch it down. Okay? Very tight. Okay? Cut off your chenille like that. Whip finisher. Very tight. V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull it out. Cinch her down. Now, I'm going to say something else too about this vise. You guys see how I'm bending that hook, right? Have you seen that vise let that jig go? Look at that. That's beautiful. That's gonna put some crappie in the boat right there. I guarantee you that. It's gonna put some crappie in the boat. All right, guys. Hopefully this. Well, you know what? I'm moving a little bit too fast. Put that. And cement that head. I don't like skipping steps. Alright. Guys, if you got any questions, throw it down there in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Alright, let me get the rest of these tied up. Getting late. We'll see you guys later. Peace.